So this is lecture 3 on principles of entrepreneurship. Today we're going to be talking about failure and entrepreneurship. So first we're going to be talking about what does failure mean for an entrepreneur. Then we're going to be looking to some statistics of what of failure in the US. Then we're going to be talking a little bit about the reasons why companies fail, and then we'll move on and we're going to look on how to prevent failure and how to deal with failure when it hits you. So let's start. Failure, it's normally defined as the lack of success. So you want to accomplish something and you set up to accomplish your goal, and what happens is that you do not meet it. And normally people think of failure as a big fail, a big fail, like something terrible happened. But by the definition of lack of success, we can say maybe you wanted to go somewhere at a certain time and you were not able to get there at that time, so you failed to get there at that time. Obviously, this is more trivial, but what I'm trying to get is that failure doesn't have to be monumental, doesn't have to be public, doesn't have to be huge for you to acknowledge it was a failure. So simply saying it's the lack of success, I think it's a good definition of failure. Now, the other definition is the omission of expected or required action. So you were supposed to go meet some client and you didn't, so you failed to meet the client, right? That could be failure, or it could be something like you wanted to sell 1,000 units of a certain product and you only sold 800, so you failed on getting there, on getting to your goal. So that's another way of interpreting failure, right? And when we're talking about entrepreneurship, it's kind of both things, but at the same time, it's experience that you get when you try something new, and it's more than anything a learning opportunity. So sometimes when you read about entrepreneurship, everybody's telling you that you should fail, that it's good, and I don't want to go all the way there to say failing is good. Nobody wants to fail, everybody wants to succeed. But in the event that you fail, and you will see in a moment that's very likely that you will, you have to be able to learn from this experience, right? So the first part is normally you fail because you were trying something new, and that's in itself good because you were reaching outside your comfort zone, and you fail because you didn't have the experience. But after you fail, you have to look back and learn from this experience and understand how you can improve upon what you already lived. So this is the way entrepreneurs look at failure, like an experience, like they're getting experience and they're also learning how to improve and how to be better at what they're doing. So the next one is failure and entrepreneurship. You will hear a lot the entrepreneurs fail, but you will never understand exactly how much until you see something like this graph. So over in the x-axis, we have years after starting a business, and then you have percentage surviving. And then you have many lines of different colors in this graph, right? So each line represents how long it represents when a company started. So in this particular case, they were getting information from 1994 to 2010. So they're saying the companies that started around 2000, what's this color? Probably 2007. In year one they were good. All of them started right, 100%. But then by year two, you see here year two really fast, already like 25% of them already failed. And if you go to year three, we're talking about another or we're talking about actually like 35% of them failing. So you start seeing the companies, you start falling, and the more you go down, here they kind of disappear. They just cease to exist. So you wonder what happened to them after that, right? So maybe around 50% only survive. So it is interesting to see that the first 5 years, most of the companies will fail, and that's reality when it comes to entrepreneurship. Most companies fail because of many reasons that we're going to look in a moment. But every entrepreneur obviously will think that other stupid people are the one who fail. He's never going to fail because he's going to do things good. And you know, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but chances are you'll also fail on your first attempts to start in a business. And if you succeed, it's great. But you have to be able to adapt to what's happening and learn from your smaller failures, right? Now, this also a difference. Your company may fail, or certain product may fail, or you fail to reach a goal. So a failure is not that your company went bankrupt and you owe money like $1 million to investors. No, that's a mega failure, right? But as we said before, a failure could be something as simple as you not reaching your goal, your sales goals, right? So let's move on. Here I put some links for you to read more on failure. Failure is a very touchy subject when it comes to entrepreneurship. And some people talk a lot about it, some people don't talk a lot about it. And I think more and more people are talking about failure when they start a company. And right now we're going to see the failure by industry on this link here.